Hello, welcome back. We are talking about sales stages and we have spoken about qualify. We're going into develop. This is the sales ops effect where we strengthen our skills as strategic leaders to grow businesses with integrity. So this would be the second stage. And again, the title can be different, but it's what's inside it that matters. So to get from qualify to develop, you'd be qualifying in. So that's a salesperson saying that they want to go ahead with this deal. Great. They want to go ahead with spending more time and the company's money trying to deep dive into this company, figuring out exactly what it is that you can offer to them. And obviously, your business is going to be your business. So sometimes you can customize things, and in some places you can't, but you get what I mean, right? So in the develop stage, that's when a lot of deep conversations are happening. If you have subject matter experts, then that's when they would be called in. You don't want to be calling them in at the qualify stage because there are simply too many deals. And so because, we are thinking about the cost of sales as well, it's too expensive to be bringing in everyone and their auntie into the qualify stage. But once we get into the develop, then yes, you might want to bring in a subject matter expert. Or if it's a very high profile deal, then you might be bringing in your chief technology officer, for example. It depends on what it is that you do and who it is that they also want to speak to, right? The sales person, if they're like a little bit fresh or a little bit new, they might want to bring in their manager, their sales director in on those calls as well. Their sales director might just ask to be there if it's a particularly high profile deal that you're working on, right? So in develop, asking a lot of these questions, you're going to get a lot of questions back. That's when you're going to want to be relying on your materials if you do have them. So that's where materials like the main talking points that the salesperson would want to use. And you don't want them to be reading off of it like they're just reading off of a presentation. The salesperson needs to understand what it is that they're selling and also have their version of a battle card ready. So you're going to have competitors. The salesperson would need to know what the differences are between your business and your competitors' businesses, because chances are they're going to be asked, or they're going to say, it feels like you guys are a little bit more expensive than these other people. Can you explain what I'm getting for that? Or something like that. So that's why the develop stage is distinct from the qualify stage, because you don't have as many dropouts at the develop stage, ideally. So if you've got 50% that drop out at the qualify stage, it's chances are it's going to be less at the develop stage, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same. It doesn't have to be more. It doesn't have to be less. But ideally, if we're still going for this funnel shape where you've got lots at the top and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as we get to the bottom, and ideally we don't want it to get too small, but that's the reality of selling. You're not going to win every single last one of them. And I gave you the example a couple of episodes ago that the average win rate for software as a service is 22%. So that means there's tons of others that do fall out at various stages, right? So that's why develop is distinct from qualify, because it's more expensive because you're bringing in subject matter experts, and or you're just spending so much more time. You might be going to their offices and things like that. You could have at the qualify stage, but chances are you will do at the develop stage, right? And so it's pretty much more of the same. If they do have any particular worries or something that you need to look into, the salesperson needs to look into, those things should be flagged at that point, because the stage after this is proposal, is validate, and then we get to proposal. I beg your pardon, because validation is internal. And so you want to be looking at all of those kinds of things. You want to be making sure you're asking true questions like their timeline. What is their budget? This is for the salespeople anyway. What is their budget? What kind of timeline? What is it that they actually need? And focus on what it is that they actually need, and then try to talk around that as well to fish more about that. That's what the salespeople need to do. And so for us as sales ops, they're going to want to have their marketing material. So we would be talking to marketing to make sure everything is available for them. That's why, we have libraries of resources. But also that's why you want really good salespeople, because you can't always just rely on subject matter experts. That is what some salespeople do. they just do the face stuff, and then they just bring in a subject matter expert to every single meeting, which basically means the subject matter expert is the one that's doing all of the real selling, because they're just talking about the technical areas of what it is, for example. And then you've got a problem, because it's just like, well, what are you paying the salesperson for? So I'm talking around that a little bit, but think time, cost, quality. Is this potential client a strategic fit? If they are asking for things to be changed, is that within reason, or would that cause too much problems internally? The salesperson might not be able to answer all of those questions themselves, because they're a salesperson. They don't know every single aspect in the company. But that's the reason why we have a stage after develop, which is validate. That is a purely internal stage, validate. So qualify and develop, that's both parties meeting together, your business as well as the client. Validate is internal. And so we're going to get to that next, because with the develop stage, again, if you get to a point where you're asking really obvious questions and things like that, and you truly know that, oh, these people, they're interested, but they're not looking to do anything for another couple of years, and your general sales cycle is 2 years, if the size of this deal is not huge, then you don't want to be having this opportunity open for 2 years before they think about starting. It doesn't mean that you can't still nurture them, and you can't still meet them at events, and you can't still give them a call every now and again, but that's not an opportunity. Opportunities are live. The potential to get money in is real. It's live. It's close by. If you're simply just talking to keep people warm, that's just re-nurturing, and that can be done outside of a pipeline. So that is the basics around the develop stage. And again, you win some, lose some. If you realize at that point, you know what, actually, I was a bit too eager as a salesperson. I was a bit too eager at the qualify stage, and actually, now that I know more information, this isn't worth our time. Then you close, not qualify them. That's how they can leave the develop stage. Or if you definitely do want to go and have more business with them, and you want to continue to grow this, then they can move from develop to internal validation, and that is what we will be talking about next week. If you haven't followed me already on LinkedIn, you can find me at Charlene Thompson, Charlene, Thompson with an H and a P, and I will look forward to speaking with you next week about the validation stage. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please look at the list of other episodes. I'm sure there's another one that can help you. See you next time.